Hello, everybody. I'm really excited to be here today to celebrate the 9th anniversary of GHK. And on the onset, I would like to thank Dr. Verghese for giving me this opportunity to present here and to share our experiences through the goodness of GHK. My thanks also to our founder, Dr. Hammer. Without much delay, let's go into what I would like to talk for today. My topic today would be on vertigo and how we look at vertigo in the lens of GNM. So, vertigo is a sudden internal or external spinning sensation, often triggered by moving the head too quickly. It's also the functional loss of the vestibular branch of the vestibulocochlear nerve, resulting in the loss of balance. So, what do we understand about vertigo? The vestibular system is the region in the inner ear where the semicircular canals join with the cochlea. It is the part of the ear that regulates the sensation of balance and motion. The cochlear branch of the vestibulocochlear nerve is responsible for hearing also. So, I'm going to bring the effect of what we hear can cause problems in vertigo. We're going to understand that through understanding GNM. The vestibular organ originates from the ectoderm and is therefore controlled by the cerebral cortex. The biological conflict which is linked to the vestibular organ is the balance conflict. We're going to understand it in depth. More precisely, the falling conflict. In a transposed sense, the conflict could be experienced as a falling from grace or a feeling of dumped, let's say, after a separation. So, though the medical understanding of vertigo is as above, GNM has a different idea, different pronunciation. It is not seen as a random neurological problem. Vertigo is not just a random neurological problem, but it's seen beyond that. It's seen as a conflict of orientation and balance. Almost to say, I don't know where I stand. Or like a sudden change in life's direction. Or a loss of stability in a job or marriage or in the home front or in the ministry, the role of life or the position you are in, some loss of stability there. And it's also the fear of losing balance in relationship or even in authority. Feeling of being thrown off GNM connects these emotions, and these emotions, when it's sudden with intensity, causes a shock called the Derrick-Hammer syndrome, and that causes the effects that is experienced as vertigo in the body. So the brain and organ involvement in GNM goes this way. So we know that the inner ear and the vestibular system, they are associated with balance and the spatial orientation. So the conflict related to this, according to GNM, is that I'm losing my footing. You know, when you lose your footing, then you go off balance. You feel like falling. And that's the same with spatial. You don't know where you're standing. You feel you're not in the right place. You're off balance. So that happens when the inner ear or the vestibular system is involved. And the other organ is the brain stem or the cerebellum. So what does the brain stem and cerebellum involvement say? It talks about the movement or coordination. So when there is involvement of movement or coordination in life, or there is a shock in this area, then the brainstem and cerebellum involvement is there, and you experience the sensation where movement is difficult, coordination is difficult, standing is difficult, walking is difficult. So I'm going to try and explain my experiences with vertigo, and how by just understanding the GNM perspective, how wonderfully the aspect of vertigo can be handled for ourselves and for the people around us. Just understanding the perspective. So through my own first experience in my life and through the experience of my patients, I'm going to try and bring to you the areas that can cause, and while understanding this, we can resolve the conflict and come out of this kind of situation. First, I start with my own case. So this was a few months ago when my daughter, who is studying in New York, she was returning home to India during her summer vacation. Her flight had a layover in Turkey. And for me, all my past experiences of, the ISIS and Turkey and things like that was not pleasant. And for some reason, she was always contactable through the flight because she had a connectivity. She landed in Turkey and I dozed off because it was 3 o'clock in the morning. I got up, went to the toilet, came back, and then I thought, let's find out where she is now. So she was supposed to be in Turkey, was supposed to land in Turkey. So I called her up and I thought I would connect with her, but I couldn't connect with her. And I was trying the call, international call. I was trying the WhatsApp. I was trying frantically to be in contact with her. And for some reason, I simply couldn't connect. And immediately my thought went to unpleasant things. I started panicking. I was concerned about her safety. I didn't know where she was in this foreign place, and especially whether she landed, whether she was okay. And in just a few minutes, After all this confusion, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I was trying to get rest. I couldn't get rest. I was suddenly emotionally disturbed. I was panicking. I did not know what to do. And in a few minutes, after the panic set in, I couldn't get up from bed. I couldn't lift my head. My head started spinning. I couldn't get out. And if I tried to get out, I was experiencing spinning and nausea. So this was what was happening. And the whole day from 3 o'clock to evening, 3 o'clock in the morning to evening 6, I simply was not able to rise up from my bed. It was severe spinning. The whole room was spinning. The bed was spinning. I had somebody to catch me down, hold me down. This was what's happening. And I couldn't put anything into my mouth. I couldn't eat anything. It was severe. So this was my experience. I quickly thought of connecting with Dr. Verghese. I tried calling up and he said, okay, call me up. And then I called him. And then he was asking when it started, what it started. Because though I was the one who went through the experience of this, what happened, it didn't connect why I had this. Even though I, mentally knew all this. So he, after inquiry, found out that there was a falling conflict. My daughter who was flying, supposed to land, sort of a falling conflict. And I was thrown off balance, was not sure where I was standing because of what was happening with my daughter. And he helped me through the process, helped me talk to myself, resolve what was running. And also in the meantime, I also understood that she was contactable. She got into the next flight. She was heading to Bombay, India. And I was also reducing the worry and the panic in my head. And through the engaging talk with him, I resolved the conflict in my mind, and I was at peace. I was brought back to the balance. I could think clearly, and within a few hours, I was completely normal. At 6 in the evening, I went back to the clinic, and I could see 20 to 30 patients that day without a problem. No medication, nothing. Just the resolving of what ran in my head. The shock that ran in my head was resolved. Conflict resolution. It was an amazing experience of how, if you really understand what caused it. So you here understand that it's not just a random neurological problem. It's beyond that. GNM finds the root. And then when you understand and resolve that, you're all right. You're brought to health. That's the goodness or the system which is so fantastic in understanding and bringing back to normalcy. So this was my understanding, personal understanding through my own life and Vertigo. Through this, I started understanding other cases with this idea in mind. So I'm going to explain to you another case. This was a person who was my patient for a long time, who is a patient for a long time. And this person works in a college called the CMS here. He heads the IT department, and he's working in the college for 15 years. And he is also in a position where he's in the examination department, meaning paper valuation department and things like that. He was raised to the position. He is a 50-year-old man, and suddenly he came to my clinic and said that he was having this vertigo and head spinning and disorientation, and he stopped going to the college, and it was been a week now. So I inquired what happened. Uh, and the history goes like this. The new management had taken over in the college, and for some reason, who this guy was the top position, he was removed from there and demoted in his position to a lower position for no reason, and he couldn't accept it. In few days, in a day, the next day, he didn't want to go to the college. He couldn't face the colleagues. He couldn't face himself being demoted from such a position for no reason. He couldn't accept the management that did it to him. And that led to this experience of giddiness, vertigo for him. So we made him understand through the eyes of GNM, the lens of GNM, what could cause him this, why the disorientation, and how it was linked to losing the footing that he had in his job, and how he should resolve it. And we also did the homeopathic case taking for him. Interestingly, the only one rubric that was taken for him was repetition, ailments from loss of. Mind, modalities, repetition, ailments from loss of. And the only medicine was sulfur in grade 4. The understanding was, after working for 15 years in a higher position in an institute, he felt sick because of the sudden removing him from this position. He lost his reputation, and he couldn't face people, students, colleagues, and his family. What would he answer? That was the shock that went through him. And as the repertory told us that it was sulfur, the only medicine, we prescribed sulfur. We also did the explanation to him to understand how to resolve the conflict in him. And within a few days, back to normal, and he could go back to the college, could face people around, he could understand and resolve the shock with himself. Absolutely fine now. So, which would have taken a longer time, which would have gone into medication for a long time, resolved with it as if nothing happened because of the understanding of GNM for the prescriber and for the patient. So it solved the problem so wonderfully. Let's see another case. So there's this another woman. She is a 57-year-old woman. She had received a marriage proposal for a second son from the US. Despite her son's interest in marriage, the son, is here in local Coimbatore, and he has an opportunity and a proposal from US, and obviously he wanted to walk into it. But she was hesitant to accept this proposal, and there was reasons for her. She comes from a religious sect where they don't wear ornaments. But the girl was brought up there, and she's brought up differently, and she wears ornaments against her beliefs. That was one reason. Then the second reason was the girl's family expected her son to move to the US after marriage, not to stay here. So she thought that her son is going to be plucked out of her from her life and going to be replanted somewhere else. So some sudden loss. What will she do without part of her family being here? Then the third reason was girl's family was unwilling to come here because she's born and brought up there. Obviously, she didn't want to leave the place, and she wanted to be there. And the mother took it as, why can't she relocate when my son can relocate? So she had a indecision, a confusion, and emotional disturbance. All these reasons pressurized her, and there was a struggle of balance between her wish and her son's wishes, her beliefs and the girl's beliefs. There was a problem of balancing it. She couldn't make good between those two. So this is how we evaluated her. The repertoire analysis was this. We took out these rubrics. We took emotions, aggravation, religious. Why? Because the girl's cultural background being different caused her a fear of losing control. She thought that she'll lose her son. She thought that she will not be able to have control over the daughter-in-law or that family. She doesn't know what she will do in future, or she will not have a position. So this we interpreted first as, because of the knowledge of GHK, we interpreted as the loss of stability through the son's marriage, losing her footing in the situation. The second rubric we took as intellectual, suppressing her emotions, not showing it out. She was unable to express. Why? Because she would sadden her son. She would sadden other people around her. She didn't have an answer. This was her own beliefs and her own wants, but her son wanted it. So she was hanging in between and a feeling like thrown off. So that was the interpretation in the lens of GNM. And the third rubric that we took was irresolute, indecision. She's struggling to find a balance between her religious beliefs and her son's wishes, making it difficult to make one decision. So the disorientation in life, this or that, good or bad, disoriented, couldn't make a decision. And the fourth was she's feeling sad in herself. So taking this as a person, she was very yielding. She was not hard. She was not obstinate. She's a person who's very humble, flexible. But this coming into her life was a shock for her. So though she was a type, contrary to her type, she had to make decisions. So taking these 6 rubrics, the medicine that came up was Pulsatilla. And we prescribed Pulsatilla 200 to her. Just like magic, within a few days, she walked out. Simply didn't have any experience of giddiness or whatever. We also did the explanation for her to understand where she stood, why she should not think the way she thought, how she should get out of the shock, how she should absorb the things around her, how she should understand that everything happens for the better. And this understanding brought her to resolve the conflict in her and saw that she was in balance again. How wonderful to understand GNM, and through understanding GNM, one area of medicine or the topic vertigo to realize what has to be understood, how it is to be handled, not to look at it as a disease, look at it as not a diagnosis, but to understand how your emotions play on you, causing you the conflict, which is the active, and the resolution phase. So the active phase, you have the emotions that hurt you, that caused you the problem, that you go through the anxiety, that you have a problem that you are facing. And the resolution to it is the vertigo itself. The healing phase is the vertigo. It's because of the secondary edema in the cerebellum cortex. And that will resolve once you understand how you have to adjust and how you realize and how you handle, how you resolve the conflict, and health is regained. It was an experience for me, and through that, I could help many and see when a case comes, not to look at it as a neurological problem, but beyond that. So it brought me to a different level of perceiving this topic and to see the ease in which you can handle it. So I'm thankful to GNM understanding what and how about this topic, and I'm happy to be helpful to the many people around that I can help them. So this is the topic that I would want to present for today, and I'm happy that I could do it, and I'm thankful that I had this experience. I'm thankful for all of you for giving me this patient hearing and helping me to unfold a little bit of vertigo through the lens of GNM. Thank you again, one and all.